Hello everyone, this is Joe Cadu giving you some more information about HMB rules and where to start. So I will include the link to this site in the video. This is the location for the place to find all of the latest HMB rules and regulations. So from this part here you can see this list of different folders, starting with technical requirements. We also have authenticity, mass battles, which this is where you'll find the rules that we use mostly for all the different categories, bohort categories. This is for the 5 versus 5, the larger groups up to 30, and then there's a special one for the 150 versus 150. Also under pro fights, you'll find the latest pro fight documentation, and then the documentations for the different rule categories for duels. One thing to note, you'll see two different kinds of files here. You'll see regulations and rules, and you'll see that for each of the categories. So for example, you have rules for sword and shield, and then you'll see regulations for duels. The regulations are more of the how to run the event, how the specific event proceeds, and some requirements. But then the rules are more the actual on the ground in the arena rule of what the competitors can do and what they can't do. And we'll get into that more. But that's good to note that there are always two different files or two different fights for the different kinds of competition. So we'll move back to the mass battles one, which is one that, like I said, we'll use the most. We have a regulations file, and then we have a rules file. So I'm going to go ahead and open one of these. This is the regulations file, and if you look at it, you'll notice that it's broken into kind of the general regulations, which is the foundational documentation of how to run a 5 versus 5 battle. And then there's more procedures in preparing for the fight. So this is, if you think about it as you're approaching the battle, you're thinking about how to do it, you're actually starting to execute it. This gives you all the background that you need for that. And then we can go down here some more. It talks about the recording of the points, etc., how to determine the victor, and then you get into exceptions. So this is where we get into things like penalties. What are our unauthorized techniques or prohibited techniques, and what are authorized techniques? So what is something that is acceptable on the field and what is unacceptable and may get you a penalty or a yellow card or beyond. Disqualification, grounds for disqualification, and then the process for appeals. This is something that it's important to understand. This is not something that happens frequently, to be very clear on this. This is an exception. This is something that should be done in almost only the most dire of circumstances, or where there is a grave miscalculation or grave missing of context. So this is something that is exception more than the standard practice. Okay, so this is the regulation file here. And I'm intending to give you guys an overview more than a line-by-line walkthrough. Those will be done in future videos. So that's the regulations one. Now we'll kick open the rules one and look at that real quick. So similarly, this is broken down into different sections, starting with the general regulations. So setting the foundation for how to approach a 5 versus 5 fight. And then we dig into it a little bit more. We have what is allowed. So authorized equipment, followed by authorized techniques. And then we have what is not allowed, prohibited techniques. That is listed here in detail. And then as we go further, this is more for the marshals. This is management control of the battle, how to proceed with the battle. And that is it. So one thing that's to note about HMB battles in general is we try to keep the rules focused on safety. The rules are focused on a few prohibited techniques, a few things that we need to watch out for. But in general, we try to allow the competitors to do what they like within the areas of authorized techniques. So we try not to be too prescriptive on how to fight. That's the job of the individual competitors and of the team captains. So again, this video is to show you kind of an overview of how the rules and regulations documents are structured, where to find them, and I will include the links in the video. Here's one other good section for Behord League. This is important information about the regulations and rules of a Behord League event. Scoring documents, there's actually a draft scoring document you can use here if you have a Behord League event. Different recommendations and requirements for tabards, and we have some other recommendations for the list, so of the fighting field, and then rating calculations for a 12 versus 12 category. I will go through subsequent videos and walk through these individual documents, starting with the duels documents and the 5 versus 5 mass battle documents. But that will conclude this video. Thanks for watching.